Welcome to another episode of the Body and Mind Podcast. I am your host, The Mind, and with me is my co-host, The Body. Body, welcome to the show.
Hey, glad to be back. Goodness and variety this week.
Yeah, big
Reign
time.
supreme.
Big time. We have a whackload of topics, plethora, you could say.
A fine selection.
Yeah. It's a handcrafted selection.
Oh, handcrafted, as only we can handcraft it.
So we're going to be doing some reviews of the NHL playoffs and season that ended just, a month ago, if that. Same thing with the NBA, review the end of that season. Also an update on the current World Cup. And also an update on Major League Baseball.
And the return of our epic Like and Suck of the Week.
Absolutely. The Epic and Suck is back. So we'll be doing that at the end of the show. The moment we each thought was epic over the past week, the moment we thought sucked. So let's get started. We're going to the ice, which is appropriate given the summertime.
Were we going to the ice or are we going to our NBA preview first?
No, we're going to the ice.
We're going to the ice. We'll go to an extensive preview after this.
Extensive preview of the NBA final after this.
Oh,
absolutely.
fantastic.
Oh, it'll get the treatment it richly deserves.
Oh, yes. That will be deeply handcrafted.
Deeply. But yeah, let's cool things down. It's been hot. It's been a hot summer so far. So let's look at the NHL. So for those that haven't heard it, your Washington Capitals are now the new Stanley Cup champions for the very first time. Very first time. Franchise has been in existence for
44 years?
Yeah, 44 years. And at long last, Ted Leonsis, their team owner, has spent gobs and gobs of cash throwing it into this team for the last 20 years or so.
Yes.
And been to the Cup Finals one at a time.
Yeah, one at a time.
Yeah, it was against the Dallas.
I think it was Dallas.
I think that was the Dallas with the infamous toe.
Yes, the toe in the crease.
Brett Hull there. Ugh. So the second time was a charm. Capitals win it, beating the evil Vegas Golden Knights.
Evil.
Yes,
well, that was quite judgmental.
You know my feelings on that franchise.
They are evil.
The chosen ones, the Washington Capitals, America's team, defeated the evil Golden Knights 4-1 to become your new Stanley Cup champions, which then led to an epic post-Cup celebration by the entire Capitals team.
Alexander Ovechkin unleashed. Woo!
Unhinged. He literally swam in a fountain in the city of Washington. In a monument. The typical, frat party, swim in the fountain of the school. He literally did that after.
It has been such a party for them that I will bet against Washington almost every game in October when they come out to start next season.
Yeah.
This has been such a party. I just see them being flat at the start of the year, but it's been a worthwhile party. Oh, man, they've made the best of it.
Oh, they have absolutely tested the limits of their liver.
And it is a test of stamina they have handled quite well.
Just how much abuse can the human liver take? Well, the Washington Capitals are finding out.
They are a scientific experiment in human endurance.
Indeed. So with the Capitals' run, is there anything about their run that was magical and memorable for you?
Definitely Ovechkin's determination and buying into the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, going in, I wasn't convinced they're going to win the Cup, but I thought this year was a good chance because I thought everyone giving up on them. Mm. And that's what they needed. There was no pressure. They were playing with house money. Everyone expected them to lose against Pittsburgh. Everyone expected them to choke and fall short.
Yeah.
This was, I thought, a pretty good opportunity for them.
Yeah, and coming into the season, I felt like they had a legitimate shot to win the Stanley Cup this year because of that very reason, that nobody was giving them any chance anymore. People had forgotten about them, given up on them, given so many failures over the last few seasons. So I thought this year they could just fly under the radar.
No pressure anymore.
No pressure anymore, and just kind of sneak in there And definitely for me, the moment that I thought changed the fortunes of this franchise was in round 1 against Columbus when they were down. I think they were down 2 games, either to nothing or 2-1, and they went into overtime against Columbus, and Washington won with this double bank shot.
The type of thing that would have gone against them in their history.
And that's exactly the first thing that came to my head is this is the kind of goal that Washington would normally suffer. And instead, this time they got one of these crazy fluke bounces.
And it would usually happen with them up 2-0 in the series, not down 2-0.
That's right. So yeah, they were down, they were in overtime, they were in enemy building, and yet they got this miraculous fluke bank shot to win them the game. And when I saw that, I was like, I think this may finally be it. Like, this may be the goal that has turned that whole franchise's fortune around.
Here we are.
And so it did. They dispatched Columbus 4-2. Did the same thing to the hated Pittsburgh Penguins, 4-2. Tampa gave them a solid run. Mm-hmm. That went 7 games. And then,
considering everyone is expecting Tampa to come out the East.
Mm-hmm. And rightfully so, because, I mean, Tampa is a legitimately good team. And the fact that they made some good moves at the trade deadline to even further bolster what was already a powerful lineup.
Yeah, because I would say Tampa and Pittsburgh are probably the favorites in the East.
Yeah, well, I mean, Pittsburgh, hard to bet against them. They did it 2 years in a row. Why not 3? Mm-hmm. The team was pretty much intact. There was no real change.
And Tampa's just loaded.
Tampa's loaded, but even your beloved Boston Bruins, good team. Good team, good at every position. I think they just simply suffered from the fact that there were so many good teams in the East.
Well, I think they suffered from 2 things. So many good teams in the East. And when they go against Tampa, I wasn't confident. Because when they faced Tampa, that's when Rask had to win a series.
Right.
Now, Rask wasn't awful.
Yeah.
But he's proven he's not a goalie he'll still... he's great in the regular season.
Right.
But he's proven at best he's average in the playoffs. He doesn't steal playoff games in playoff series. And they were going to need him to steal a series against Tampa Bay, and I just knew that wasn't going to happen just going off past history.
That's true. That's right. Given, unfortunately, Tuukka Rask has once again proven you right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Boston to beat Tampa, they would have had to be the better team. They just weren't.
Yeah. No, good point. So that was the east side. The west side, where the evil Vegas Golden Knights came from.
Evil. Loving this.
The team of pure evil, somehow by the grace of the devil himself, won.
Wow. We're coming up thick tonight, people. Thick.
Fist flying, friends. Fist flying. This is like a classic Mortal Kombat Raiden dive across the screen spear. One of those for you fans out there. You know the sound I'm making. That's a classic Raiden across the screen spear. Yeah, Vegas, I'm doing that to you. So yeah, the evil Golden Knights, they won the specific division, giving them the right to play former 2-time champion, the LA Kings, which they dispatched 4 games to nothing.
They did.
Like they're a bunch of ham and eggers. And then they fought the Sharks. And the Sharks gave them a little bit of a battle, but still 4-2.
Mm-hmm.
And then the team that was supposed to crush them beyond all hope and belief, the Winnipeg Jets, not a problem. 4-1.
Yeah, 5 games.
5 games. And really, they swept the Jets because the Jets won the first game.
And then Vegas took the next 4.
And yeah, so Vegas just wiped the mat with them. And then, thankfully, the universe listened and things realigned. Balance came to the force as America's team, the Washington Capitals, dispatched the evil Golden Knights 4-1 in the Stanley Cup final.
And the party was on.
And the party was on. So, Body, what do you think of Vegas's run?
I expected conference finals from them, but I was shocked they got to the Stanley Cup finals. Yeah, just the way they played this year. And the West, to me, wasn't as strong as some people might have thought. LA kind of getting old and slow.
Mm-hmm.
San Jose, got to the second round, but not really a team that convinced me. When I saw San Jose, Anaheim first round, to me that was, well, somebody had to get to the second round in that series. Vegas taking out the Jets like that did surprise me.
Yeah.
Really, when I looked at the West, I really thought it was between Winnipeg and Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And I really thought that was like the conference final, and whoever moves on was going to the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
Not the way it worked out. Reality hit Vegas at the end when they faced Washington, though.
Yeah, to this day, I still don't know how Vegas did this. No idea. Like, kudos to you for picking Vegas in our mid-season review. Because you thought they could go to the conference. I thought there was no way that these guys.
Yeah, we hotly debated that too.
Oh yeah, I thought there is no way these fools are even making the playoffs. Like this ridiculous Vegas run, this will come crashing. I was looking forward to a 30-game losing streak. So how that never happened, I have no explanation. How they won one round, I don't know how they did that. How they got the Stanley Cup final.
I think they crashed into earth next year. I think they either barely squeak in the playoffs or miss next year.
That's what I would expect. It has to be because we need balance. Mm-hmm. The universe is unbalanced right now.
Well, they went into the year with like 12 or 13 guys playing their final year of their contract. So how many of them are going to sign? And even of the guys they do sign, how many of them are going to play the same now that they're not playing that final year of a contract?
That's a good point because, last year of a contract, that gives power to every player that's in that last year. And over half
their team was playing with that last year.
Yeah, it's like the Albert Hainworth syndrome.
Oh, yes.
It's like, I got to fight for a contract next year. Mm-hmm. I think I'll actually get in shape and actually care.
And they were a team that no one expected anything from.
Yeah.
So now you're not going to have all those final years on contracts and you're not sneaking up on anyone.
Very true.
I still think they'll be a competitive team, but I just don't see this run happening again.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, that's definitely without question the surprise of the playoffs. You mentioned Nashville. They faced Winnipeg in round 2, which was kind of cruel because two teams that good should have faced later than that.
Should have been a conference final.
Yeah. And the series went as people expected. It went 7 games, and the Jets managed to win that one to get past Nashville. But can Nashville be a powerhouse again next year?
It's a good question.
I would think so, because they kind of have their whole team still intact. They're not overly old yet.
No.
Or slow. So,
this could have been a good reality check for them getting knocked out in the second round, too.
Yeah. Yeah, because, and realistically, I don't know how much more they could really do.
No,
they have a pretty good team.
They have pretty much everything.
Yeah, they got good depth. They got good goalies. Phenomenal defense.
So Pekka Rinne could have a better run than he had in the second round.
Yeah.
Actually, that's an interesting thing. Rinne wasn't awful, but he didn't have the greatest second round.
Yeah.
And Connor Hellebuyck wasn't awful. He did not have the best conference final while Fleury was hot.
That's true. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. So we were talking about the Vegas effect. What will this do to other teams? Obviously, teams are going to want to improve, but I guess this will just further reinforce that today's NHL is about speed and skill. Mm-hmm. And the big, hulking, slow player...
going by the wayside.
Yeah, you're done. Goodbye, Milan Lucic. Mm-hmm. I think he's only under contract for another 4 years.
How'd that work out?
Oops. Which leads us to our next topic. It's the silly season once again, as people like to refer to it.
And surprisingly, no one's got that silly yet. But I think they're waiting for the main event star to sign the lineup, everything.
Yes, indeed, friends. Free agency is here, July the 1, which is actually Canada Day, so perfect day to celebrate.
Well, that'd be why no one signed yet. We're still eagerly waiting it.
Yeah.
Yep. Be interesting to see, though. I got a weird feeling. I don't know if Tavares is going to go on day 1. I got a feeling it's going to play out maybe a day or two after that, even though he's talking to teams now.
I think John Tavares is going to stay. He is the number 1 free agent out there. I think he's going to stay with the Island.
I can see that.
Because the Islanders so far...
And Lou Lamoriello's there now, so that gives him credit credibility to maybe rebuild properly.
Well, that's the goofy thing is they fired Garth Snow, replaced him with Lamoriello.
Wow, you talk about 180.
Oh, yeah.
About as 180 as it gets.
Exactly. That's like, forget about it. I mean, that's like simulated crab with real crab.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you got Lou Lamoriello, who's built championship teams. Hello, Joyzy.
And
3 Stanley Cups.
And he's even built Toronto, which isn't a championship team, but well on their way because he was
Big time.
there.
Oh yeah, that's all Lou Lamoriello there. Be interesting to see what Toronto does with that young punk Dubas.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking unless this Dubas really has it.
Right.
I think Shanahan's ego got in the way.
I think so. We're going to find out because now the training wheels are off this year. There's no Lou Lamoriello to help that boy out.
And Mark Hunter might have been the ideal replacement. It's close, and I think he's even possibly gone, or is he gone?
That's a good question.
I know there's talk he might be leaving. I haven't heard the latest.
Yeah, he also, yeah, that's true because he got passed over.
Yeah.
So right now the Islanders, they got Lamoriello there. And the first thing Lamoriello did, fire the old coach and replaced him with, the Stanley Cup champion winning coach. That's a pretty good coach to get. Barry Trotz.
Yes.
Is now the coach of the New York Islanders. Fresh off his Washington Capitals Stanley Cup victory.
I can't believe Washington didn't hold on to him and they didn't come to an agreement there.
Well, Washington, I can't remember the name of this fool, but they've got an assistant coach there that they've been grooming now for a few years. And Washington's all super excited to give him the coaching reins. And they pretty much promised him that he's going to be the new coach of the Capitals. So it looked like it was a foregone conclusion.
This usually does not turn out.
It usually doesn't, no. So Barry Trotz. So really the Islanders, they got rid of their incompetent GM and replaced him with Lamoriello. He got rid of their, Doug Waite's a good guy, but still new at this coaching thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they replaced him with a veteran Stanley Cup winning coach.
Well, there's a difference between good guy and good coach.
Yeah. I mean, he may eventually be a good coach, but it's his first crack at it. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, those are 2 huge improvements that the Islanders have already made. And so I'm pretty sure that made Tavares like, maybe I should stay here.
No, I could see him staying there. But, yeah, he's going to be exploring things. It might be right on July 1st, but I just think if he's got to the point of July 1st, even though they're talking now, I could see him July 2nd or July 3rd signing wherever it is.
Well, here's another thought. For as mismanaged as the Islanders have been, they do have a lot of good young players in that team. And right now, I believe the Islanders have 9 or 10 number 1 picks in their starting roster right now.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, they've actually gathered some pretty good talent on that team.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing they need is a goalie. They have no goaltending.
What goalies are out there for free agency this year?
For free agency...
I would assume they have cap room to get a goalie. Just even a reasonable, solid goalie?
Yeah, and the goalies that are out there, I mean, they're not all world.
No, but just someone who looks like a professional NHL goaltender.
And that's what's out there. There's some good dependable guys. So Anton Khudobin, the backup in Boston, he's there. So
I'd hate to lose him.
So, I mean,
hate to see he might actually impress given a full-time job. He's played great as a backup.
That's the thing. So, I mean, even if he's just there for as a bridge guy for a couple of years while they groom a new guy.
He might be more than a bridge guy because he might be able to do what Ross couldn't do, and that's play exceptionally well in the playoffs. He's never really had the chance.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's out there and available. Some other guys like Robin Leonard who's played for Buffalo for the last few years. I mean, if he can survive Buffalo.
He can survive anywhere.
Survive anything. Anything is an upgrade from Buffalo. So he's out there. Also, actually, Mrazek, former goalie for Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah.
Young up-and-comer. He's had both good and bad. He's had some very good in Detroit, and last year was pretty bad.
I would more want to go after someone, because if you've had bad, I don't even want the inconsistent from the Islanders.
Right.
I'd rather rely on even reliable and spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm the Islanders of those 3, I'm seriously looking at Khudobin the most.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So, I mean, there's no, obvious all-star goalies out there, but there are guys who are an upgrade on what they currently have, which is Halak and Grice.
Khudobin may be an all-star one day, though. I'm not going to hold my breath on that, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah. So I mean, there's goalies out there that I think will at least give him hope.
I think all that guy needs is a chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
I even told you this year I would have considered him over Rask at one point in the playoffs.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, I think there's, I think that's what they need right now. I think if they can go out there and sign, a decent goalie or perhaps even trade for one, that might be. I think that would be the final straw that finally stirs the drink in John Tavares' glass. If that doesn't happen, then he's going to Montreal.
You think Montreal? Who are the teams rumored to be after him? I know there's 5 teams supposed to be talking to him. Has it come out who the 5 teams are? I would think Toronto's one.
Yeah, Toronto's one. Montreal's another.
Why go to Montreal to keep losing, though? I know you get the truckload of money, but after suffering with the Islanders, I don't have confidence in Montreal to turn it around.
Well, there's 2 things. One, he's a Montreal fan growing up. So there's that. It's a chance to play for his childhood team. And 2, money. Lots and lots of money.
The Montreal, those are 2 big things.
And the allure of playing for Montreal. I mean, Montreal is still the greatest hockey franchise in the world.
But it's also the worst place to play if they're losing.
Yeah. I mean, there's the feast and famine. But if you can come in there and you can save that team, you are godlike.
Mind you, I don't believe one guy can save him, but if Tavares and Price get hot, that is enough to actually turn that team around. Franchise player, franchise goalie.
Big time. Like Carey Price is everything for that team. If he goes back to doing Carey Price things, and you got John Tavares there, look out.
But I still think the Islanders are the best fit for him. Who are some of the other teams? I know those are 3 Islanders, Montreal, Toronto.
Yeah, it's a good thought there. Trying to think of who some of the other ones would be. I think there's been talk of Rangers, which would be kind of insulting.
Well, it'd be insulting, and plus this is a team in rebuild mode.
Yeah, Vegas. Vegas has tons of cap space. So they're after anybody. So they're rumored to be after Tavares, after Erik Karlsson in Ottawa. That would be a trade.
You know where you think he'd be a good fit? But this team isn't really looking for free agents. I know of. And I don't know what the cap situation is. So it's not happening, but I just think he'd actually be a decent fit in Jersey.
Yeah.
It's not happening, but for some reason it just seemed like it would be a good fit.
That's interesting because Jersey last year started with the whole youth movement, and so far so good. I mean, they made the playoffs. Give him a skilled
veteran to kind of round it out, right?
Yeah, and I mean, a guy who's literally coming into his prime.
Yeah.
Like 27 years old. Like the next, 5-6 years are going to be just like money for John Tavares.
He'd be at the tail end of his prime as everyone else is hitting their absolute prime.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, it would. That's an interesting thought, Joyzy. That would be a good fit. We'll see. The madness begins Monday. So in 6 days? Yeah. Ta-da!
Good times.
Yay! All right. Well, that's our NHL review of this past season. Next, we move on to the ever exciting, fingernail-biting,
unpredictability.
Sit on the edge of your seat.
What's gonna happen next?
We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
That's all. That's it. That's everything.
The NBA review.
What could happen here?
So in the finals, Cleveland faced Golden State. Golden State wins. The end.
Oh yeah, convincingly. Again. See it coming all the way from October. Oh, I think Houston's got a chance. Why?
This is like playing NBA 2K17 on like novice mode. Against the computer.
We did all this for that again.
Like Golden State, is like during the season, it's like, oh yeah, they only finished second in the Western Conference. They're not very good. Houston finished ahead of them, and Toronto finished ahead of them. All these teams are finishing ahead of Golden State. Oh, they're on downward spiral. Yeah, and what did they do? They went to the final, where in round one, Golden State, what did they do? They took the San Antonio Spurs, multiple-time NBA champions, spanked them 4-1.
Yeah.
And then go to round two. Hey, they got New Orleans Pelicans. Anthony Davis having a great season. Kicking names. Taking yeah. No Cousins there to mess with his world.
No.
Watch out.
They were better without Cousins.
They were. I gotta figure that one out.
Yeah, got out of the way.
Yeah, Pelicans. They're gonna, make life difficult for Golden State. Yes, they did. 4-1.
They took a game, which is one more than I expected them to take.
That's right. And then they got to the conference finals against Houston, the big matchup we've been waiting for. Finally, the Houston Rockets can end the tyranny
with that established playoff success of Mike D'Antoni, Chris Paul, and James Harden.
Ooh. How can you go wrong with that?
Well, they did.
Oh, dang. 4-3 for Golden State.
They actually went the limit, but in the end, they choked. Gave
the old college try. That entire series, though, it seemed like Golden State were literally bored, and they were just kind of doing enough
to get by. And even against Cleveland. And what? Was it a sweep or was it 5 against Cleveland? I can't even remember because the series was so memorable.
Well, if they allowed them to play 5 games, it would have been a 5-0 sweep. Yes, instead, it was just a 4-0.
But I've never seen a team do just enough in a 4-game sweep in a championship.
I think
it's the most ridiculous thing. One of the most ridiculous things I've seen in my life. You do just enough in a 4-game sweep in a championship?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's almost like... it's like...
I can barely remember this because I hardly watch it. It's like nodding off.
Hey, Draymond, you feel like playing today? No, man, I'm just not feeling it. You guys take over today. All right, it's like you take the day off. Well, we got it.
Andre Iguodala literally took days off. They didn't know if he's coming back from injury.
Yep.
They didn't even need him that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was... I think if they would have allowed Golden State and Cleveland to play the full 7 games, no matter what,
it'd be 7-0.
It would have been a 7-game sweep. Oh my Lord! Yeah, the NBA. It's a fun league. I thoroughly enjoy watching the NBA, but goodness gracious, the playoffs have been so predictable for the last 4 seasons.
Yeah. It's going to be Golden State, Cleveland in the finals. Cleveland's going to eliminate Toronto without much trouble.
Yeah. Oh, did they ever? Cleveland, oh my Lord. They just terrorized Toronto.
Yeah.
4-0.
Actually, and something you and I have
not even close.
Something you and I have taken to task, not on the show. We'll mention it now.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people upset about the Dwayne Casey firing in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana took Cleveland 7.
Mm-hmm.
Boston took Cleveland 7.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto took Cleveland 4.
Yep. Well, 4. I was going to say they took Cleveland 0, but
they took them the absolute minimum.
They took it to the minimum.
They pushed them absolutely nowhere.
I mean, by the end of that series, after Cleveland, rolled over Toronto in a 4-game sweep, I'm pretty sure Cleveland's fist was just aching
from punching Toronto in the face.
Punching Toronto's face so much.
I mean, yeah, Boston decimated by injuries. Their 2 best players gone.
Yeah.
Push them 7.
Yeah.
Indiana, which really doesn't have a lot, pushed them 7.
Yeah.
Toronto has some pretty decent talent. Didn't win a game.
Nothing.
It's not the coach's fault. Well, maybe not that they didn't win, but the fact they didn't win a game, yeah, it's kind of the coach's fault.
Well,
I think Dwayne Casey's a decent coach and deserves a chance to coach somewhere. I'm not saying he's awful, but it's pretty obvious the Toronto run is over.
Yep. Total agreement there. Because, he'd been there, 4 or 5 years?
Something like that.
He'd been there a long time, plenty of time to whatever plan he had to have put it in action by now.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't worked.
I'm not sure about the replacement. Isn't one of their assistant coaches?
Yeah, he is one of their assistant coaches.
Nurse. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Nurse. He was assistant, and really his last coaching gig was in Europe, actually, in the British League.
The British have a league?
I'd never heard of the British Basketball League.
I didn't even know that.
BBL.
I didn't even know they had a YMCA.
Yes. It was like, I know in Europe there's a Spanish league. That's a big one.
Yes.
There's a Greek league. Because
was it
that's
Croatia or Serbia? Where did the balls go?
They went to Lithuania.
Oh, they went to Lithuania. Yes.
Lithuania.
Yes.
Lithuania is for the Ball family. So there's even a Lithuanian league, but
the British League?
I had no idea there was a British League. Never heard of such a thing.
And like I said, I had no idea there was as much as a YMCA to play basketball in.
Exactly. But yeah, if you're looking for an NBA coach, that's the first place you should look.
And there was established guys out there. What was that Fizdale or whoever was fired from Memphis early in the year who's thought to be a good coach? I'll have to look at his name again.
Oh yeah, but Masai Ujiri said, Toronto GM, that nope, I don't want no retread. I want a fresh new face.
A fresh new face? He's already with the franchise. He was already on the bench.
Come on, man. We're thinking outside.
I've seen him in halftime interviews. How fresh can that be?
We're thinking outside the box.
Oh, it's a horrible box. Somebody get a new box and think outside of that.
Here's the box. This is Masai.
He kicked his way out of it. He was in the box and you took him out.
Busted his way out of that box.
No.
Brand new fresh coach.
Brand new fresh from the old stale box. Oh, jeez.
But yeah, no,
how horrible.
I do not disagree with Coach Casey, who was, by the way, voted the Coach of the Year. Yeah!
Great job! Until the playoffs.
Coach of the Year, well done. You're fired.
You've done so well, we can't have you here anymore. And yet, I agree.
And I thought the Jack Adams Trophy was in the NHL. You know, realize
well, the Jack Adams Trophy in the NHL, you at least get fired the year after.
That's true. They give you 1 year before they can you. The NBA, well, they don't wait that long.
And the crazy thing is, I still agree with the move, but I don't agree with the replacement. But I think Casey should coach somewhere, but I think just as run in Toronto.
I do believe, actually, I think he has found another coaching gig.
Has he? Nice. Okay.
I do believe he has. Yeah.
Get out of
that. Trying to find out, actually, where he is coaching now. But I'm pretty sure, if he's not, well, he's been rumored anyway. But yeah, I thought he was. But either way, yeah.
Oh, he's hired with the Detroit Pistons. Actually, that's a pretty
he's
good
the Pistons.
Fit.
All right, that's a good coach. That's a good team to go to.
Pretty good, yeah, that could work out pretty well.
So there you go, Dwayne Casey, Coach of the Year. You're fired. Go to the Pistons. So I guess we're talking about the Golden State effect. What can teams do to combat the Warriors? Anything?
I don't know if LeBron maybe gets a banana boat tour, like going somewhere.
Yeah, okay, so let's assume that Cleveland, there's no chance.
Yeah, he might even wind up back in Cleveland. We'll see.
Yeah, he might stick with Cleveland, but realistically, can Cleveland challenge Golden State?
No, they've already proven they can't build around him.
Yeah.
Well, they already proven he can't build around him.
Because Golden State,
he needs to go to a team with a GM to protect him from himself as GM.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
a strong-minded GM that can protect him from himself.
Because really, right now it's 3 championships for Golden State, right?
Yes, 3 and 4 years.
So 3 and 4 years. So the Cavaliers did beat them the 1 year.
Yes.
So they were able to put it together for one season, but
they had Kyrie, and Kyrie was super hot.
Yeah.
Curry was a little banged up.
Yeah.
And they didn't have Durant yet in Golden State. That prompted them to go out and get Durant.
That's true. That is very true. So yeah,
and that was also the series where Draymond Green got suspended for LeBron's overacting.
Yep, that's right.
So it was like the perfect storm.
Yeah. So all those things combined, and they finally managed to beat the evil Golden State Warriors. So next season, is there any team that can combat them? Houston. Can Houston do this? What can Houston do?
Well, there's one of the rumors is LeBron in Houston.
In Houston? Is there enough basketballs to go around?
Well, they play isolation basketball, so just give everyone a turn. Could work out. You could actually rest LeBron a bit because then Harden gets the ball a bit. You could rest Harden because he gets tired late in the year because you're giving LeBron the ball a bit. Chris Paul gets the ball a bit.
Is there enough money in Houston? Isn't there supposed to be a cap in the NBA?
I've questioned the cap in the NBA for a few years now.
I'm not sure how that works. You're supposed to be a cap, yet somehow Draymond Green, Steph Curry,
Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson.
Yeah. I don't know how all these players end up on the same team under a quote-unquote cap system.
No, neither do I.
All right.
That's about the only thing you can really see, or unless like some team pulls a few people together, like with LeBron on it. But it
Boston.
still has to be the right mix.
I'm thinking Boston here, that given that they were just devastated by injuries, and yet despite missing like their top two players for the entire playoffs,
you get them back and your good young players have another year and you have a great coach.
Yeah.
There's a shot.
They went to the conference finals literally missing their top two players.
Yeah. I mean, there's a shot if they could have those two, and plus they had some really good young players who get another year, and they have an amazing coach in Stevens.
What if they had LeBron?
Oh man, can you just imagine? That would just seem so wrong. LeBron and Kyrie reunited after Kyrie asked to get out of Cleveland.
I would pay to actually see the look on Kyrie's face when his GM tells him
they signed LeBron.
Kyrie, we want to sit down for this. You didn't. We did. You mother.
You know, though,
Kyrie, this is good for the team. Kyrie, where are you going?
If I'm LeBron, though, because I know there's a whole thing with him, you know, in Cleveland.
Mm.
If I'm LeBron, depending how long he's thinking of playing, I think I would go sign 2 years to try win a championship somewhere and come back for one last year in Cleveland and retire.
Yeah. I could see that.
That's the way I would attack it if I'm him. Because they're not going to win in Cleveland again.
I don't think so. Like, given that...
I think it's even getting harder for them to get to the conference finals in Cleveland.
Well, I mean, Cleveland, given that, you know, the Indiana Pacers, who have really nothing, like, they have some, you know, some decent young guys, but, like, the Pacers took them to 7 games, and the Pacers are not considered to be some superstar up-and-coming team. Like, they're just a good team that are slowly on the rise, you know, maybe 2 years from now, you know.
But then they swept the coach of the year in 4.
But they took, but that we saw coming.
Yeah.
Like, I saw that coming because I mentioned it to anyone that would listen that the last 2 regular season games that Toronto faced Cleveland, they were manhandled. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, Toronto was completely outclassed in both games.
By LeBron.
By LeBron. And even when LeBron wasn't on the field, it didn't matter. The rest of the players on Cleveland, they just rolled over Toronto. It was like men playing against, like, children.
I don't get what Toronto's issue. Like, I see LeBron beating. I don't know LeBron beating in a series, but I don't know why they get so manhandled by Cleveland.
But that's what it was. It was literally manhandled. Like, they were out-physicaled by every single Cleveland player. Everyone. And every Toronto player was owned by Cleveland. Everyone. Like, DeMar DeRozan, you know, give him credit. He at least gave it, you know, he gave it his all, and he tried to spark a little light. But that was it. He was the only one. The rest of Toronto, they were just outclassed. They were out-muscled, out-hustled, out-everything. So, yeah. So, I mean, really for Cleveland, you barely squeaked by Indianapolis. I mean, you beat Toronto just because that's what you do every year. So
that's an annual event.
Just an annual event.
That's like going to Christmas dinner.
It's like Christmas every year. It's going to happen. And then a badly bruised, beaten up Boston team, you barely squeak by them. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything in Cleveland.
No.
There's talk of LeBron going to L.A. Lakers. Why?
No. Him and Paul George. You're not even going to go to the West with that team.
Yeah.
Because Houston's still going to be good next year.
Yeah, Houston will crush them. Obviously, Golden State would crush them. Even probably Portland will crush them. Pelicans, like everybody.
There's been talk of him going to Philly.
See, now that would make more sense. Because the Phillies are a team that's legitimately on the rise.
Yes.
So that would make a little bit more sense. But yeah, so I guess that's the shtick is LeBron has to go to somebody that's on that cusp. So do you think Philly or Houston?
Another possibility, could you see him with Popovich in San Antonio?
Oh.
I mean, they're still short, but Kawhi wants to get traded. If you can make a trade to get something back for Kawhi,
Mm-hmm.
get some reasonable help. And I still don't even know if that team would get out there because they've gotten pretty old.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, that'd be a way to give them an instant spurt up.
I don't see it happening, but it's something to think about.
Philadelphia, do you think the 76ers can continue on their rise? Philadelphia and Boston, can they both continue on their rise that they had this year?
Well, the big thing with Philly is how long is Embiid going to stay healthy? Because I don't think that's going to be a long career.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty small window.
That is true. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with that poor guy's back, but it is finishing him.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I think that window's a lot smaller than people think.
And so on the western side, the OKC Thunder, are they done?
There's been rumors Paul George might resign there, but I have trouble picturing that.
Yeah.
Carmelo didn't turn out there. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't think Westbrook plays well with others. I think we pretty much determined that. I thought after one solo year he might be happy to get help. He just doesn't play well with others.
See, here's what I'm wondering. Carmelo, it's a Carmelo Anthony effect. Because he was with the Nuggets.
Everyone played worse once they've had him.
Once the second he left the Nuggets became better.
Yeah, they did.
Even that very season. He goes to New York. We saw what a disaster that's been for the last decade.
Oh, yeah.
Pure disaster. He goes to Oklahoma. Oklahoma got worse this year with him.
Everybody's gotten worse with him.
Every single team that's had Carmelo Anthony has gotten worse. So it's like, I think, from what I understand, he's a real nice person. But when it comes to helping a basketball team, I don't know what it is, but he doesn't help a team.
No.
So I think for Oklahoma, this could be addition through subtraction. You know, let Carmelo go somewhere else.
I don't know what his contract is, but
send him to the Lakers.
Buy him out.
That'd be nice.
You might have to buy him out at this point because I don't know if anyone would trade for him now.
That's an interesting thought. Yeah. Ooh.
I would consider just outright buying him out. I would do it.
Well, it's not like NBA teams don't have money.
No. Even Oklahoma City has money to buy. Because, I mean, if you get George to resign there, because I think he wants to go to California,
yeah,
I don't think George has a problem being the number 2 guy. If you have just a number 2 guy with Westbrook, because George isn't a guy who likes to, I don't think he's a big, grab the ball, dominate the game type of guy.
Yeah.
So as long as he just gets some opportunities and you have a second guy and then you have Steven Adams on putbacks, I mean, they're obviously not going to contend for a title in the West, but they'd be a better team, like you said, addition through subtraction if they get rid of Carmelo.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, let's see if that shakes out. So that is our NBA review. Yay, Golden State. Next, let's move to the World Game, the World Cup. Of course, we're talking about soccer. What else are we talking about? The beautiful game. Game so beautiful that today, after Argentina's win, Maradona, the legendary Maradona, gave the double bird to some haters in the stand.
Didn't he hug someone and then turn around and start flipping the double bird?
Yes, he did. Someone? He celebrated. He hugged the fan or whoever, and then, boom, gave the Stone Cold Steve Austin a couple of fans.
I've heard about it. I still got to check it out.
And then apparently had a heart attack.
Oh, was it a heart attack? He had health issues.
Yeah, he had some health issues. They were checking
There's
him
even
out.
the still picture there. He didn't look good.
No, he did not. So, that was, he did it all within a 5-minute span.
He's like the guy in that one car commercial. I squeezed every last drop of life. Body. And he did it in one day. Hugging, flipping the bird at people, having a medical issue, like he's passed out somewhere. A day in the life of Maradona.
Exactly. Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah,
just one day. It was like a good week for me.
Oh, that was like 15 minutes in Maradona time.
The good, the bad, and Diego Maradona.
The good, the bad, and the are you okay? All Maradona, all the time.
All day, all night, all Maradona.
Oh, love it, love it. Yeah, he's also good old Maradona. I mean, not only obviously, his legendary playing career, but still, for me, the most legendary moment up until now, today's, I think, actually surpasses the previous legendary moment.
And you're not even going to talk about the hand of God either.
No. That was that was legendary moment number 1, which I thought there's no way that's ever going to be surpassed. Well, no, legendary moment number 2 came when he coached Argentina, and before.
I forgot about this.
So yeah, this is about 8 years ago, I believe, that he was the coach of Argentina, and before that World Cup tournament, he promised that if Argentina won the World Cup, he would run naked through the streets of Buenos Aires. Well, no word of a lie for that tournament. I said, if Portugal can't win, I pray to God Argentina wins. I want to see Maradona running naked through the streets of Buenos Aires. And I thought that epic promise would never be beat until today's celebration, thanking God, hugging, and bird flipping.
And then pretty much being passed out.
And then practically dying. Oh, Maradona. Yeah, I think we should inaugurate him into our epic of the century category.
If we're going to have an epic Hall of Fame, he's going to be the first inductee.
Yeah, the first inductee into the epic Hall of Fame. We're going to have to do that. We're going to have to start inducting people into
the epic Hall of Fame. We're going to have to do it once a year, and there'll be a set list of people. And he's definitely an inaugural candidate.
Stay tuned, fans. That's coming up.
Maybe like a year-end episode or something.
A future episode. Yeah. Later this year, the Epic Hall of Fame.
It's already declared Maradona.
Maradona is the first entry, so there's no surprise there.
He's a unanimous selection from all 2 of us.
I love it. So, so apparently other teams are in the World Cup besides Argentina.
How about that?
There's 31 of them out there. So let's do a quick review of who's in, who's not, and anyone that surprised us. Group A, that group is done. Russia, Uruguay first, Russia second. Those 2 are moving on to the knockout round. And Saudi Arabia and Egypt were beaten up like doormats.
I think the biggest surprise there for us is we thought Saudi Arabia would probably be the one with the no points.
Yep, that is true. Before the tournament started, I actually held out some hope that Egypt could have been a dark horse in this group. But Russia turned out to be much better than we were anticipating. So I guess mild surprise there, I guess, that Mother Russia was...
those Mother Russians.
Has been as strong as they have been. Group B. Spain and Portugal finished in the top 2.
I guess the surprise would be how strong Iran's looked.
Yeah, Iran and Morocco finished 3rd and 4th, but that was the surprise that Iran won a game against Morocco with a Moroccan own goal. Mm-hmm. and then they tied Portugal in the last game in a wild 1-1 game, which they went to video review 3 different times, and just tons of pressure on the ref, lots of complaining, lots of contentious calls. But in the end, the 2 teams everybody thought would come out came out. It just wasn't as easy as anyone would have predicted.
My Portugal pick at 26-1 still alive.
Still alive. Group C. That group was done today. France and Denmark. Those are pretty much the 2 teams we had picked to come out of this group.
Yeah, we thought less of Peru and a bit more of Australia, but both are out of it, so it's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, both are out of it. And Peru, their only win was against Australia, so it was really the 2 weakest teams of the group beating up on each other. So no surprise there. Group D,
The surprise here, I think, is how much Croatia dominated this group.
Yeah, that is a surprise because they went 3-0.
Plus 6 goal differential.
Yeah, so I know in our preview show that we thought that Croatia, we had mentioned that we thought Croatia had a chance to win this group.
But not so handily.
Yeah, they won it with a vengeance. Better than we even expected.
I think we were thinking Argentina first, Croatia, Nigeria fighting for second, but Croatia did have a chance to win it.
Yeah, exactly.
But nothing like this.
And of course, the Iceland factor, we had it in there that technically they are the weakest team in this group, but you never know.
Mm-hmm.
And, Iceland did cause some grief for teams like Argentina, where they tied with them in the very first game of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, Croatia, Argentina. Today, Argentina beat Nigeria to capture the second spot.
It seemed like the first game, the parts I've seen of it seemed like Argentina was finally returning closer to their form, just in time for the next round.
Yeah, so that's something to watch out for there, because that's dangerous. If Argentina is starting to get their act together just in time for the knockout round.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But we had predicted that would be a close group, and we were right. It was a close group. So we've got 4 more groups to decide over the next couple of days. Group B, we have Brazil and Switzerland currently in first and second with 4 points apiece. Serbia is in third place with 3 points, and then Costa Rica last with 0. So Costa Rica is definitely out of that group. But between Brazil, Switzerland, and Serbia, any 2 of those 3 can still go through. There's no guarantee that Brazil will go through to the next round.
No, that's a bunch of mayhem. That's tomorrow.
That is tomorrow.
Tomorrow, that group.
Yeah. So
tomorrow from when we're doing this show. By the time this show's out,
that's right.
Will be out.
The result would have been out. That's right, because we're recording this on June 26th. So there you go. So yeah, we still had Brazil coming out of this group for sure, and then Switzerland and Serbia.
Well, I guess it's not so for sure anymore.
Divided on those 2.
Yeah.
Group F. Here's a big surprise here.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Looked a lot better than expected.
Yeah. I thought that the Mexicans, usually in these tournaments, they come out, they put on a good show, but ultimately just don't pull it through in the end. But so far, the Mexico is guaranteed to go to the next round. They've already got 6 points. They're through. So now it's literally Germany, Korea, and Sweden, all 3 of them fighting for that last spot.
That'll be interesting.
So all 3 literally can get that second spot. Korea plays Germany. If Korea beats Germany, they will have an edge over Germany. So then it depends. If Mexico beats Sweden, hey, Korea's in.
Madness.
Total madness. This is one that I know we had picked Germany to obviously win the group.
And we were obviously wrong.
Obviously wrong. Thought it was going to be a 3-0 sweep. Nuh-uh. Germans are fighting for their lives right now.
They are. This one top heavy like we thought.
Group G, yeah. Group G. Yeah, we thought it'd be England, Belgium beating up on Tunisia and Panama. Lo and behold, this is exactly what's happened.
And even though I usually have a bad feeling about England, and even though Panam's just a weak team to beat on, I took a shot at England at 10-1 to win the tournament.
I'm surprised their odds are that low, actually. I thought they'd be
higher.
Much higher, yeah.
I thought so too.
That's a lot of faith all of a sudden.
And in fairness, for the way they beat Panama, I know on Sunday there was a couple early giveaways I noticed that against an even reasonably competent team might have cost them early.
Yeah, like.
So I'm a little worried, but I just have a good, decent feeling, but I'm not absolutely convinced there.
Well, I know
that's one wager I'm not so sure I should have made, but yeah.
Well, I know people have been getting pretty excited about Belgium, thinking, oh, they're going to win the World Cup now. It's like, oh, slow your roll.
Aren't they usually hot in the preliminary rounds, and then somewhere in the round of 16 or round of 8? That's usually about it for them.
Exactly. I mean, Belgium did the same thing 2 years ago in the Euro. You know, they stormed out of their group, won the group, crushed everyone before them. You know, as Conan said, what is good in life? Crush your enemies, see them flee before you, hear the lamentation of the women. That's what Belgium did. And then came round 2, where, in the knockout round, they faced off against Wales, and the Welsh team was good. It was an okay team with one superstar, Gareth Bale, and Wales wiped them out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not yet sold on Belgium. Let's see them beat up on somebody good first before we get on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
Same holds out for England. Got to beat somebody. As Ric Flair once said, to be the man,
you got to beat the man.
Exactly. Finally, Group H. This is another crazy group.
We predicted this to be a crazy group.
We did. This was, our group of death, pretty much.
And actually, the teams we predicted 3rd and 4th are 1st and 2nd. And the team we thought may win it is actually been the one bad team of the group.
Yeah. Poland is already out of the competition, surprisingly enough. And watching their games, I mean, Poland reminded me of kind of like the LA Kings or the Anaheim Ducks in the modern NHL. That
just old and
slow. And that's how they played. Like, there was no real speed on that team. They looked just tired and unable to keep up. And when they faced Colombia just past them at will.
I was so impressed with Colombia in that game, even though they haven't notched a spot in the 16.
Yep.
I went and took a shot at them at 51-1 to win the whole thing. Those are the 3 teams I have. England at 10-1, Portugal at 26-1. I have a bit more in Portugal, and I have Colombia at 51-1.
Well done. That is betting like a champion.
We'll see. Looking for championship gold, Jerry.
Looking for gold. We want all the gold. All the gold of space and time.
In the continuum.
So, I mean, that was the surprise for sure, seeing Poland just eliminated so quickly after 2 games. But the rest of the group has gone as we thought. We thought it'd be a close group, and it is. Right now, Japan and Senegal are 1st and 2nd, Colombia in 3rd. But it all comes down to that last game. Again, any 2 of those 3 could be through.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some good matches coming up in the next couple of days. And then, the knockout round madness begins Saturday.
What a way to go into the weekend.
Whew. So, a couple of more.
And the Saturday games are already scheduled.
It is. It is.
The Sunday games are already scheduled.
Yeah, the games we know about already. We have Uruguay facing Portugal and Russia versus Spain.
Is that down on your Saturday as well?
That's on Saturday.
Well, I don't have it on my Saturday on the one I'm looking at.
Yeah.
What time's that one at?
Spain or Portugal and Uruguay, that's at 1 o'clock.
Yes, I have France and Argentina at 9.
Okay, so they're doing the Group C and D game at 9. Okay. So France and Argentina then will be Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then I imagine then the other game, which will be Denmark-Croatia, will probably be Sunday then.
Okay, because on Sunday I have Spain-Russia, actually on Sunday.
Yep.
And Croatia-Denmark, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're doing a game from each group on each day. So we've got a couple of second round games already set up.
Sensational looking games.
Yeah.
Looking at these early, do you have any thoughts on these? France, Argentina. I want to see.
It's a crazy matchup.
Because I don't think either team's really played up to expectations. Argentina's coming around a bit, but this is a new round. I got to think about this game long and hard.
It's a tough one because, I mean, France has played well, and they've basically done enough to get out of their group.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a strange one because I thought their group was pretty weak.
Mm-hmm.
That really Denmark was the only team in their group that posed any kind of a challenge. and that both Peru and Australia were just, way below their weight class.
So we have a France team that's done just enough, and an Argentina team, which Argentina team showing up.
And that's the thing, in Argentina, I mean, they were in a tougher group. Like Argentina's group with Croatia, Nigeria, and Iceland, that is a much tougher group than what France had to go through. So I guess it depends. Did the toughness that Argentina, the struggle that they just went through, I mean, literally in the span of 1 week, they went through about 10 years worth of emotion and grief.
France is the favorite against Argentina.
Yep.
Uruguay is the favorite against Portugal, slight favorite.
Yeah, I can see that because, Uruguay, they went 3-0. So obviously people are going to look at that. They haven't allowed a goal yet. Mm-hmm. And they've got, two big strikers, Uruguay does, that they can count on, which is Cavani and also our favorite vampire, Luis Suarez. So, yeah, Ronaldo better be careful because he could get, some blood sucked out of his neck by Suarez if he's not watching.
What did you think of Portugal's performance against Iran?
Pitiful. It was...
You can't be too optimistic about this game from...
This game against Uruguay, the Portuguese team right now, I don't know what to make of them.
Yeah, you haven't sounded overwhelmingly impressed when I've talked to you about them.
They, in game 1 against Spain, that was the best game they've played so far. And the offense actually came out that game. Ronaldo scored all the goals, all 3 goals against Spain, but he did have support from his teammates, mm-hmm. the midfielders and the forwards. The criticism after that game from the Portuguese fans was that they felt that their forwards and midfielders could have done more for offense, that they felt that they played just a bit too cautious, that everyone thought they played well, but just a bit cautious. They think they would like to see more from them. Well, in the next game against Morocco, Portugal did the exact opposite. They played even more cautiously and allowed Morocco to just dominate the whole game. Mm-hmm. They beat Morocco, but literally they had the worst game I think I've seen Portugal play in probably 10 years. And then the Iran game, again, you're talking about punching above your weight class. Literally, Portugal versus Iran, this is not even a match.
No.
On a normal day, if Portugal's playing at their very best and Iran is playing at their very best, Portugal wins 9-0. The difference in talent is not even comparable. You could literally take Portuguese backup team, all the subs, put them in, and you put them against the best Iranian team of all time. You bring back the best 11 Iranian players
in their peak,
in history at their prime.
And you've got a 3-1 game?
And Portugal will still beat them probably 4-0. There was no comparison in skill level. What happened here is that for whatever reason, the Portuguese forwards, with the exception of Ronaldo, just are afraid to go forward. They're afraid to commit to an attack.
So now when you look at this Portugal-Uruguay game, I'm thinking there's one of 2 ways you can look at this.
Yep. Very
worried because of their performance, or judging by their play against Spain, is it a matter of them playing up to their opposition, they step it up against Uruguay?
That's the goofy thing. Portugal, the way they won Euro is by playing this tight defensive game. The days of,
But it's getting a little too tight right now.
Portugal,
sounds of it.
Well, as people are saying, they're playing tournament football. Mm-hmm. They're doing what they need to do to get to the next game. Mm-hmm. They're not worried right now about playing pretty, about pleasing the fans or anything. They just want to win. That's it. Mm-hmm. And if by winning means you scrape out an ugly 1-0 win, they're perfectly happy to do that. And so far, their defense has been good. Mm-hmm. The defense, which we talked about, we thought the weakest part of Portugal, has actually been the strongest part. So their defense has actually held up quite nicely. They've absorbed every attack. Mm-hmm. Their goaltender is good, still a great goalie, same goalie from Euro. Mm-hmm. And at the front, they've got Ronaldo. And they do have other really, really good forwards.
Well,
They're
this
just
isn't
not
a much
playing
different
like it.
team that won the Euro 2 years ago, is it?
No, it's really with about 2, 3 different players. That's about it. The rest of the team is pretty much intact. And they're playing the same style. So, I think the game against Uruguay will be really tight. And I think it'll just be a 1-goal victory.
You think they can win this? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely think they can win it. Can Uruguay win it? Sure. Uruguay's got a good team. But right now, I think the Portuguese defense and style of play will frustrate Uruguay. So I think they got a solid shot to win this. On the other side, we got Spain-Russia.
I like Russia.
Russia playing at home, they're scoring a ton of goals.
I haven't seen much of Spain. Hasn't superly impressed me.
No, Spain, the concern going to this tournament is that given the fact that they fired their coach 2 days before the World Cup started, we talked about it. Was this going to affect Spain? How will the players take this? And so far, yeah, it's gone badly. Like they narrowly beat Iran, which again on a given day they would destroy. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't beat Morocco. They tied. Now, Morocco, we said, is a good team. In almost any other group, they would have a chance to progress. But still, there's Spain and there's Morocco. Like
Russia's paying over 6-1 against Spain.
I could see Russia knocking off Spain.
And never mind for crazy odds. I just plain like Russia in this game.
Yep. Russia's played well. They're playing in front of their fans. The criticism, of course, for Russia is that they beat up on Saudi Arabia and Egypt, which are terribly weak teams.
Oh, true.
And then the second they faced a good team, Uruguay, they got stomped. Mm-hmm. Like Uruguay just dominated them. So suddenly, the Russian questions come out. Are we going to see the team that, beat up on Saudi Arabia and Egypt?
Or the team that got beaten up by Uruguay.
Yeah, because now they're facing a powerhouse.
Because Spain, even not playing up their capabilities, is a really good team.
Spain's a phenomenal team.
It's Spain.
Yeah, this is literally one of the top 5 teams on the planet. Like, there's nothing wrong with Spain. Like, the only thing that can beat Spain is Spain. That's it.
And so far they've been kind of hanging in there. But now that we're moving on to the elimination round, that might even straighten them out.
That could, So, yeah. I mean, Russia, sure, you can make an argument that they have a shot in this game, and they do. Home field helps. Mm-hmm. But, boy, betting against Spain...
That's a dangerous proposition. That's
a dangerous proposition.
I got time to think about this.
Yeah. And the other one, too, that we have, the final game...
I like Croatia.
Denmark-Croatia. Yeah, Croatia's been good. I still really like Denmark in this game.
Just a gut feeling, or you just think they're going to come around in this round?
Denmark, well, I believe their defense and goaltending is just better than Croatia. So they have that advantage. At goal they got Kasper Schmeichel in there, mm-hmm. who's a phenomenal goalie. Second generation. His father, Peter Schmeichel, was also the Danish goaltender, and he was also Hall of Fame goalie. Mm-hmm. So Denmark's got the goaltending, they got the defense, and they've got some tremendous forwards in midfield. They've got great, some good midfielders. Croatia's strength is their forward and midfield. That's their strength. Mm-hmm. But I think again, Denmark, they can frustrate Croatia and squeeze out a one goal win.
It's quite possible.
So yeah, I would pick Denmark over Croatia actually.
Just looking at the group Croatia came out of compared to what Denmark's coming out of too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Denmark again, they came out of a pretty weak group.
But it is about matchups.
Yeah, and right now I'm liking Denmark how they match up against Croatia. But we shall see.
Mm-hmm. Be interesting.
Yeah. So that is our World Cup review. So our last topic is we're going to do a quick look at Major League Baseball. We're kind of, almost halfway into the season?
You're getting there, yeah.
Yeah, we're about the 70-some game mark right now. So just a quick look at all the divisions. Really... In the American League,
it's been all about the Red Sox and the Yankees in the East, as expected.
Yeah. Yankees of Boston doing the East. No surprise there. Central, no surprise there. Cleveland's leading.
Yeah, Cleveland got off slow, but they're starting to look like Cleveland now.
Yep. And the rest of the division is just a disaster.
No, it's just, as you would call it, it's a tire fire.
It's a tire fire. It's not one team with a 500 record.
Well, Minnesota's second at 34-40 with a 459 winning percentage. Then it's Detroit, then it's the White Sox, and it's Kansas City.
There you go. That's all you need to know. The fact that Kansas City, there's actually a team worse than the White Sox, that for me is the shocker here, because I thought White Sox would be the worst team in all of baseball.
Well, you know who the worst team in baseball is right now? Unless there's a team worse in the National League, let me make sure and double check. There is not. It is the Baltimore Orioles.
My goodness.
23 wins, 55 losses, a 295 winning percentage.
Oh, my Lord.
They are 29 and a half games back in near the end of June. 295. There are hitters with much better batting averages than there
Baltimore's winning percentage.
Yeah, than Baltimore's winning percentage.
That is frightening. How in the world could you get a 200 winning percentage?
A 295 winning percentage.
Good gravy. That is abysmal. It's pretty bad when the White Sox 338 winning percentage looks Herculean by comparison. Oh.
As a matter of fact, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. If you took Baltimore's winning percentage and made it a batting average, it would rank 15th in the American League.
Unbelievable. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of pain for one city. Baltimore.
That is just epic horror.
Ick. Zach Britton can't come back fast enough.
What, to get him to 300?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so that's the Central. The West, they're at least the anti-Central. There's actually 4 teams over 500.
No, there's a lot of goodness there. Seattle still playing well even without Robinson Cano.
Yeah.
Oakland having a surprising year. The Angels playing pretty well. Texas is bad, but I mean, they could be a lot worse for what they have. And Houston's just tearing it up as expected.
Well, it goes to show how many bad teams there are out there when we look at a 438 winning percentage and think, it's not that bad.
Right. We got Kansas City at 308, Chicago at 338.
Yeah, it's
Baltimore at dimension 295, and that's just in the American League.
Yeah, it's just not good.
No.
But yeah, Houston winning the West again, as we expected, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're only 3 up on Seattle, but I don't see Seattle overtaking them, even though there's a long way to go. There'd have to be a lot happening, I think, injury-wise. Yeah, Seattle is definitely surprised there, no doubt. Yeah, as you mentioned, in Oakland, Moneyball, it's back. It is. Once again, it's like 2 years removed from their playoff appearance. Oh, yeah, but give them a year or two, and they'll trade away everyone making them good right now. Unbelievable. That's what they do. Unbelievable. And I'd say by next year or so, you'll see everyone getting traded away from there who's making them good right now. If only that team could get themselves like a brand new stadium and actually start acting like an actual baseball team. They don't even need free agents. They just need to keep the people they bring up through their system. Yeah. Yeah. Like, get yourselves an actual baseball park and start acting like a baseball team for once. National League. This has been kind of a bit of a surprise here. Atlanta and Philadelphia on top of Washington. Yeah, so I mean Washington's still having a good season, but I think we had both picked Washington to win this division. Well, if that talent, this 526 winning percentage. Yeah, and Atlanta, I didn't see this coming at all. No, I thought they were going to be like second last or maybe even third, just because the Mets are in the same division, but somehow they're leading the division with a 45-32 record. By 4 over Philadelphia. Philly's been an interesting enigma because I expect them to have a good year. Mm-hmm. And then their manager was a complete wingnut at times early in the year. Yeah. Taking out their starting pitcher in a shutout with 68 pitches in the game on opening day. Yeah. And then bringing in a reliever who hadn't thrown any pitches in the bullpen. You gotta wonder, is this guy's first rodeo, as they say? He's a former Major League player, Gabe Kapler. 41-36. What would they be doing with a real manager right now?
That's frightening, right? Because it could be that Philly's like doing this to spite him.
Yeah, I can't figure it out.
Yeah, Philly is definitely. I think this is pretty much overall. Everybody expected Philly to improve this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say that they've gone above and beyond the expectations.
Well, their season win total, if you're going to bet it during the year, was 76.5. I took the over, and they're on pace for over 500 right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Central, which usually is St. Louis's division to win every year.
Well, they're 4 back, so they're not out of it.
Yeah, but Milwaukee. How about that?
Yeah, well, they pushed out the Cubs last year, and they're pushing again this year, and they may just be the better team with some of the pickups they had in the offseason.
And that was one of the things we did mention in our preview show, is that last year Milwaukee Brewers had the lowest payroll in the entire Major League.
And they went out and got people this year.
And they were a respectable team last year.
They got Christian Yelich.
Yeah. So that was our thinking as well. So, well, can you imagine if this team actually added a few big league players to this team? What would they do?
It's not just Ryan Braun and a bunch of guys anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, good old Milwaukee, still a budget team, but a budget team with some brains. Leading the Central, and yeah, Cubs, St. Louis are still right there, and Pittsburgh is now slowly fading away, as kind of expected. West.
Arizona's back up. Man, they've had a hot and cold year. They were super hot, then super cold. Now they're back on top.
Yeah.
The Dodgers are back in it again.
Yeah, the Dodgers, they were like, weren't they even last or second last?
They were down there. San Fran's back in it.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see San Fran back in it, though. I expect them to win a lot because I took them at 29-1 early in the year to win. Colorado's fading off. San Diego, we didn't expect much from, but they have good young talent, so they can knock off anyone on any given day.
Yeah, San Diego is doing what we would expect. They're a team.
They're building.
I think on the rise, but
yeah.
It's going to take another year or two.
Yeah, and they expect that there. So this really isn't a disappointment, even though they're losing.
No, that's what they expect. Colorado's a disappointment. Because last year, they were a playoff team. And all of a sudden this year, they're not. So yeah, the Rockies definitely at 38-40. They're not even 500. Like, that's a huge surprise right now. Especially given their batters, I would have expected this team to be much higher based on that alone.
But still only 6 back, and we are before July. And so some teams, we see some teams not even really start getting hot until after the All-Star break. So even just being in striking range, they're not out of it yet.
That's true. But in that division, though, like Arizona, that just looks like a loaded team. I don't see them giving up their lead.
Well, I don't know. They went on an awful enough slump earlier this year that it's possible.
Yeah. Unless it's to the Dodgers, because the Dodgers, now they've been rolling after a terrible, terrible start.
But remember what they did last year? They were super hot, then they were super cold, then they were...
That's right. But yeah. But I think right now it'll be Arizona and Dodgers out of here. And then I guess it's a question of who's going to be the wild card teams. Do you think Atlanta can continue this?
Possibly. I don't think it's so much if Atlanta can continue this as does Washington find their bearings.
I would expect they would. Barring any major injuries, I still expect Washington to finish first in this division.
Though I did hear one interesting thing, and I can't remember who said it. There was something I heard earlier this year.
Probably me.
No, it's actually someone with, they're 3-7 their last 10, lost 2 in a row. But the thing with Washington, it's bugging me. I can't remember who said it, but they're saying it was someone who's been in several major league clubhouses.
Told you it was me.
Invited.
Oh, fine.
Can't remember if it was like a player or a manager or a media member, but they said Washington, you go into every locker room, there's guys laughing and joking and smiling, even some of the ones that aren't as tight.
All right.
And you walk into Washington's, even though they have that talent, and you see nothing. Everyone's serious, like they're at work. Like, yeah.
So they're stressed, tense.
And that was with Jason Worth, and I believe he's gone now, and he's kind of their glue, so.
Wow. Well, that's ooh.
So no matter how much talent you have, you can't... you can't really overcome chemistry issues sometimes.
That's
Sometimes
true.
you can, but sometimes you can't.
That is true. Yeah, you can't just assume that just because you're supposed to be a good team that you will be a good team.
Exactly.
All right, that's a good point. So we'll definitely come back and revisit this at the 2/3 waypoint.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so that is that for our MLB update, and which takes us to our very last segment, one everyone loves, our epic and suck of the week. The one moment we thought was epic for the last week, and the moment we thought sucked. So, Body, take it away. You're epic.
Mine is actually from a couple of weeks ago, but it's an epic like from NJPW, the huge wrestling promotion in Japan, second biggest wrestling promotion in the world.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of a two-parter. So Kenny Omega and Okada, who have had epic matches in the past, on a 5-star rating system of wrestling critic Dave Meltzer, broke the scale every time. 6, 6 1/4, can't remember what the other one was. 2 out of 3 fall no time limit match for the NJPW World title. A 7-star rating. They went 65 minutes, and Omega wins the title.
65 minutes. That is a long wrestling match.
I got to watch this match yet. And then, on top of that, in the same card, Winnipegger Chris Jericho won their version of the Intercontinental title earlier in the card.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, 2 Winnipeggers are the 2 top stars in Japanese wrestling right now.
Winnipeg dominating Japan.
Winnipeg dominating Japan. Don't mess with the peg. The epic suck. What happened to Toronto Argonaut quarterback Ricky Ray in the CFL this week, suffering a very serious head and neck injury? He was able to move all extremities. I'm not sure what the latest is. I'm not sure when he's coming back. It's a good thing he's actually. I'm hoping he returns to full health, so that much good should come out of it. But it's just scary to see something like that. That could be spinal or just anything like that, whether it's football, hockey, or anything. Just I think when we see injuries like that, it kind of hopefully brings us back to priorities. You know, as great as sports are, it's health and well-being, and just having your health and full ability with you to function and live a regular life are the most important priorities.
Very true, and I don't know if players just realized it at the time or if that was just their natural reaction, but I was watching that game as well, and when I saw Ray get injured, that was like serious concern on a lot of players' faces, most notably Bo Levi Mitchell, quarterback for Calgary Stampeders, that he was almost in tears actually watching what was going on. So it was obvious that
priority shift.
That, yeah, whatever was going on in the field, whatever they heard, you know, the medical staff talking, the trainers, and Ricky Ray himself, because obviously the cameras, the mics didn't pick up any of that. But obviously I'm thinking they must have saw something that really disturbed them. So yeah, so you're right about, for a brief point in time, everybody kind of like remembers, oh yeah, right, it's a game.
Yes. No matter how seriously fanatics and fans like us take it, no matter how high their athletes are paid, in the end, it is a game.
Yeah. Good. Very good. My epic and suck of the week. Let's start with my epic. This week on WWE Raw. Bayley, hug life, the hugger. She hugs everyone. She loves everyone. Apparently she doesn't love Sasha Banks.
This is an epic heel turn. This was well done.
This was the heel turn of the year at the very least.
I mean, we actually had an epic heel turn beatdown for once.
This was unbelievable. It was a triple tag team match, or 6-woman tag team, and on Bayley's side there was Bayley, there was Sasha, and Ember Moon, and Sasha got pinned by the Riot Squad, and at the end of the match, Bayley instantly ran into the ring and attacked Sasha Banks. Didn't even allow Sasha to get up or argue or anything, which surprised me, because usually in these heel turns, the one wrestler will go in and they'll push around the defeated wrestler and then accuse them that it was their fault that they lost and blah, 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 and all that stuff. Nope, not going through any of this pretense. He just went right in there and just beat the tar out of Sasha.
This was awesome. This is old school from behind with enthusiasm. I was very proud to see this.
It was from behind. She beat her to a pulp, smashed her into into the turnbuckle a number of times. And then just as it turned like Bailey had finished, committing all the horror, she decided to grab Sasha, physically throw her out of the ring against one of the guardrails, and then if that wasn't enough, she threw out against the steel steps about 3 more times.
Oh, it was great because it was like the old school commercials from way back in the day when you thought she was done, but wait, there's more.
There's more, and there was always more, and it just wouldn't end. She just beat Sasha to within an inch of her boss life.
The irony was it's a heel turn, and the place was actually chanting for her while she was beating the tar out of her.
Major pop on this heel turn. The crowd was chanting yes, 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 during this heel turn.
The irony of the heel turn in this day and age.
Although the one thing I don't know how this will react is because, as I've said, Bailey is basically the female version of John Cena. And for her to turn heel, like, this is going to be pretty traumatic to a lot of her fans, because there's like a lot of children, a lot of little girls who love Bailey. And to see their hero turn evil like this in front of their eyes, like, this is going to be traumatic. So from that point of view, I'm quite surprised that this heel turn happened. Because this is not your typical women's wrestler. Like, she is beloved by her fans. Because you see it when she goes into the ring and she actually like hugs one of her fans. Most of these little girls, they are in tears after she hugs them. So it's like that kind of emotional impact is huge. So this heel turn, like...
Well, after this attack, I was in tears of joy.
Well, so was I. But, Body, think of the children. Think of the children.
I'm ignoring the children right now. I'm thinking my own selfish wants.
And with that kind of attitude, let's turn to our suck of the week.
My own selfish needs, damn it.
Besides the Body and his selfishness,
the children will be fine. They're on vacation for the summer soon.
My other suck of the week.
Take them on a trip.
My suck number 2. I got a bonus suck this week because the Body is number 1.
Hey, wait a minute.
Number 2 this week.
Take the kid. You go on the trip with the kids while you're at it. Suck it up.
My number 2 suck of the week is actually the fact that there have been no sleepers in the World Cup. This has been a disappointment. Every year in this great tournament, every time, there's always 1 or 2 teams that come out of a group that nobody saw coming. This year, call them dark horses, sleepers, whatever you want, but this year, really nothing. In every single group, there's not a single team that you could claim, it's like, wow, I didn't see that coming. So an example would be in today's Group D action. If Nigeria had beaten Argentina, Nigeria would go through and Argentina was out. Now that would be a monumental sleeper. Didn't happen. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of days with the remaining groups. But so far, all the teams that are supposed to go through are going through. So,
well, maybe if everyone was afraid to rock the boat and disturb the children, somebody would actually come through with an upset and rock this.
Okay, so I'm changing it to my suck of the week is actually the Body, pure and simple. That's it.
You're welcome. You are welcome.
I'm actually going to write it down here in the notes for this episode. The suck of the week is the Body.
The pleasure is all yours.
And with that, we wrap up another episode of the Body and Mind podcast.
I feel my job is now successfully done.
Yeah, and I think I need to wash my brain after this is done. This is an offense.
That's what I'm here for.
So, I guess thanks again for another great show.
You're welcome. The pleasure's all yours, mine.
You selfish fiend.
Thank you.
Monster. And thanks again to all of you for tuning in and listening. Please remember to subscribe and like our channel. Thanks once again for listening to another episode of the Body and Mind podcast.